Good morning and welcome. My name is Denise Cowell and I'm a Creative Memories Advisor in Ormond Beach, Florida. If I have not met you yet and you've just started following me, welcome and thank you for being here. Today we are going to be working on the On the Mend project playbook. So let me get to my desk and we will go through this. What you'll need is the On the Mend paper pack. You will need the matte pack as well as the laser borders and the stickers. And you're going to need, as you can see this, you're going to need 9 sheets of cardstock. So we're going to need 3 bright white, 2 island waters, 3 blue, and 1 red. And the red and the blue, we are going to be using those as, I'd be cutting those. You'll be using 9 sheets of the paper. You know, I always like to make sure that we have enough paper to complete the project recipe, which we'll be doing next week. So next week, we'll be doing the project recipe, and I hope to have enough to complete this layout from the blog with the band-aid. So I'm hoping we have enough paper left to be able to create that also. And we'll see when we get through this. So let's take a look. This project booklet makes 1, 2, 3, 4 2-page spreads and 2 1-page spreads. We may not have enough paper to make these being double page layouts, but we'll kind of see if we can, or how we can adjust that. So when we start cutting, we will be making 6 piles, because we're gonna, as we cut, we're gonna be putting them in the pile for which layout they go with. Sorry, excuse me. Again, you're going to need your 12-inch trimmer. You're going to need your border maker with the new Heartbeat border maker cartridge, right? You will also need the housing. Sorry, that's the paper holder. The paper holder and the housing for that. And your repositionable and your regular tape runners. So let's get started. I do have everything. We'll take a look as we start putting the pages together. If you have not seen these borders, this is a really cool collection. I mean, you have everything from a hospital stay to broken bones, just to boo-boos and owies, as the stickers say. So it is a very well-rounded collection. Okay, so let's keep our cutting guide and let's get our paper. So paper number 1 is the one with the words. It says On the Mend. The back of that is the brown chevrons. Let's make sure that our paper is with the top up at the top, and you can see 1A and 1B. We are going to cut that at 4 inches. So let's cut that at 4 inches. So we'll have a 4 by 12 and an 8 by 12 piece. So this is 1A and 1B. These are both going to go on layout number 1. So again, as I said, make sure you have a big spot available to stack up your 6 piles for each of the layouts. So these are for layout number 1. Okay, paper number 2 is the red hearts, and as you see, we're going to keep the hearts at the top. This one has the RX and the needles of the thermometers on the back, so we're going to cut it the same way as it shows here. So we are going to cut the first one, 2A, but watch here at the bottom. You see how 2D and 2E are going to use the remaining 2 inches. So what we're going to do is rotate this first. So I have the hearts right now on the left hand side, and I'm going to cut 2 1-inch pieces. So we're going to cut 2D and 2E first at 1 inch. So we have 1 inch, and we'll trim those down after we finish cutting the rest of the paper. And 1 inch. If we would have cut these first, we would have not have that 11-inch piece for 2D. Let's rotate this now. I have a 10-inch piece. We are going to cut this at 7 inches. So 2A is a 7 by 10, 7 by 10. This is going on layout number 1 also. And now we should have a 5-inch piece. We are going to cut this at 3. So I'll have a 3 by 10 and a 2 by 10. 2B is going with layout number 1. 2C is going to go with layout number 4. It's layout number 4. Let's jump back to 2D. We're going to cut that at 11 inches. And again, we're going to keep all these little pieces for hopefully for making that blog post. I'm not going to get rid of any pieces. 2D is going to go for, I wrote this on the side when I was doing this. I just want to make 2D, yes. 2D and E are both going on layout number 5. So let's layout number 5. And this one, last one, 2E, is going to be 6 inches. So this other 6-inch piece we're going to keep. And this one again is going on layout number 5. Okay, the next paper is going to be our brown chevrons. Chevrons are going to be in the right direction on our page. And we're going to cut 3A is going to be 5 inches. It's 5 by 5. So let's cut this at 5 inches. We will rotate that and cut it at 5 inches. So 3A is going to go in layout number 1. 3B is going to go in layout number 2. Layout number 2. Just trying to keep my piles straight off the camera. This last piece that is 7 inches, right? We're going to rotate that. We're going to cut it at 9 inches. And that's going to go on layout number 1. And this last 7 by 3 piece, that's going to go on layout number 5. Layout number 5. Okay, let's take a minute, make sure you've got all those ones done, and we will move on to our one that has the stethoscopes. Again, we have this piece 4E at the bottom. We're going to cut that off first. So let's rotate this, and we're going to cut this at 2 inches. And again, it doesn't matter if you cut from the top or the bottom. So we're just going to cut 2 inches off. And we'll come and trim that back in a minute. So let's put that to the side. Now we're going to rotate this. And this should be 10 inches. So this first one we're going to cut at 7 inches. So we have 7 by 10, right? And we're going to rotate this piece and cut it at 5. So we will have 2 pieces that are 7 by 5. These are both going on layout number 2. Layout number 2. So this last piece that we have left, that is 5 inches, we are going to rotate this and cut this at 5. So we will have 2 pieces that are 5 by 5. One of them is going for layout number 2. And one of them is going for layout number 5. And actually, I may have 5 and 6 mixed up. Sorry, I think those are for 6. That was my mistake. We'll go back. 5 and 6 are going to end up probably being put together because I think I missed that. So we will fix that when we get to layout number 5 and 6. I'll fix that up. Okay, the next piece is going to be this one that has the soup in the T. So this sheet was going to be the right direction. But again, you can see this piece at the bottom. We need to cut off 2 inches, and we need to come back and cut 4E also. So let's cut 2 inches off of this one. And we'll put it with the other one. And we are going to rotate this. And this, we have our 10-inch piece. As you can see, we're going to cut this at 7 inches. So we'll have a 7 by 10 for layout number 3. We are going to take this one and we'll have a 4-inch. And then we'll have this 1-inch. So the 4-inch one goes for layout number 3. The 1-inch one reversed is going to go for layout number 4. And again, I may have made a technical error when I was writing down my numbers. Let's go back to 4E and 5D. They're both 11 by 2, so we're going to cut an inch off. We're going to cut it at 11 inches. We're going to save these 2 little pieces. And we'll cut this one at 11. Okay, so these two are both going for layout number 5. Okay, let's move to designer paper number 6. So that's the one that has the band-aids, and it doesn't look like there's a direction. She does have the dark brown band-aids going horizontally. So let's just cut them that way. And the very first thing that we are going to do is cut a 1-inch frame. So the way that we are going to do that, if you remember, we are going to line our paper up at the 1 inch on the left-hand side, sorry, the right-hand side. We are going to move our housing so that the top of the housing is at 2 inches. This white line on the other side will be at the 1 inch. That's the 1 inch mark there. That's where it will puncture and cut. So we're going to cut this from 2. We'll go right to the end. That will leave an inch here at the bottom. We will rotate that and we will do this all around the page. So we'll line up at 1 inch and we will puncture and cut and rotate again, and we will do that for all 4 sides. And one more. Oh, let's make sure when you're cutting that you're lined up straight when we're making this frame. Okay, I'm at 2 inches to the bottom, and our frame should pop out. There we are. The frame actually is for layout number 5, and I know 5 and 6 right now, all of our papers are together, and we'll organize that when we get to those. These 2 inside ones, which are 10 inches, again, I'm going to put my dark band-aids going horizontally, and we are going to cut this one at 4 inches so that we will have a 4-inch and a 10-inch piece. And these are both for layout number 4. And we're going to be using the reverse side. So those are both going on layout number 4. Okay, the next 2 that we are going to cut are going to be the cardstock. So the blue cardstock is first. These are all matte, so if you don't normally cut mattes, you don't need to cut this one, and or you can wait and cut it later. But I will get them all cut. So the first one is going to be 3 inches, and we'll rotate this and cut them at 3 inches. So we will have 4 3x3s. Now the first 3 are going to go on layout number 3. These will go on layout number 3. My piles are merging. This last one, put in that 5, 6 pile. It's going to go in one of those. The next one, we're going to cut 2 4x6 mats. So 4, rotate it and cut it at 6. These 2 are also going to go for layout number 3. We are going to cut this last one at 4 inches. You will have an inch left over. We might need that in our extra, so let's just put that in our extra pile. And these are all going to be 4x4s. So these are going to go, 2 of them are going to go in layout number 3, and 1 of them will go in our 5, 6 pile. Okay, the last thing is we need to have 3 of our heartbeat. So let's cut those first, and then we're going to cut some mats. Okay, so let's get our housing. Make sure we have the feet out. Get our red cardstock. And we will cut 3 of these borders, 3 heartbeats. It's a cool punch. Make sure your feet are in. So this would be 1. So that's 1 border. The second one, 12 inches. That little overhang up at the top. So we'll cut sometimes I do check my paper first of all and cut it down to 12 by 12. And then this last one. It's usually the cardstock. There can be up to an 1/8 of an inch difference, but it could be bigger. I don't normally see it smaller. Okay, so there is our 3 heartbeat borders, and the rest are going to be mats. So let me just clean this up. Okay, and I will rotate this to my clean side, and we are going to make 4 4x6 mats. So I'll just cut the 4 inches. We'll have a little piece left over. We'll keep that with our spare pieces. We will rotate these. I'm going to actually stack these up and rotate them and cut these at 6 inches. So we have 4 4x6s. Now these are all going on layout number 4. On layout number 4. Okay, so we are going to start putting these together. I will get my 2 13-inch mats out so that I can line them up. We're going to actually make one more cut here that's going to be a little bit different than what the guide says, because it says here that we're going to use 2 sheets of blued cardstock. We're actually going to weld them together. So let's get our trimmer back out. And 1 sheet, let's put that back, 1 sheet of our blue cardstock. Might as well say the sheet. And because we cut paper 1 at 4 by 8, we're going to cut this one also at 4. And then we will weld these 2 pieces together. Okay, so that saves us a sheet of cardstock. So I have my 2 1-inch melds. So again, for melding paper, just cut yourself some 2 1-inch pieces out of anything that you have. So on the left, we are going to have the 8-inch piece. On the right, we'll have the 4-inch piece. And then we will get pieces 1A and 1B. And let's just meld those together. Weld those together. I'm reading the mend here. We're just going to weld these together and use regular tape runner on this. And basically you just lay them down. I mean, you really don't need to line it up because it will line up when you put them, but I just like having mine lined up. I'll slip this underneath. Trying to slip it underneath. Line it up. And then we'll add the 4-inch piece. And if some of the white is sticking out or the cardstock's a little longer, we can trim that up later. And then let's do the same to the right hand side. And we will weld this one. And the rest we're just going to dry fit on camera, and we'll talk about the embellishments and the mats that are used, but basically we will just be dry fitting today. Okay, there's our 2 pages. So if we get the rest of our pieces that we put in our number 1 pile, and we're also going to need a mat. So I'm just going to bring out my photo trimmer to be able to put the mats down. And I did have them all out for what we needed. Here we go. We will need quite a few of the mats. Okay, so let's get our pieces. We have these 2 pieces. We have 2A, and it's going to line up here about 1 inch from the top and the bottom, and 2B will go on the other side. And then we have 3A, which is the chevron piece that will go down here. Let's see if I can move this over and get the instructions in here also, almost. And then we will have this larger piece, 3C, which will be there. We're going to take this On the Road to Recovery mat. We're going to cut it in half because we are going to use the other half. So these are 6.5. So we are going to cut this at 3.25, which should be right along that line. If you need to trim off a little bit, like I said, we're going to use the back, so I'm just putting that with the other mats. Just going to trim off just a tiny little bit of red. So this will be our page. And so let's look at the embellishments and the photos that they have placed on this one. So in here we have some 4x4s and 6x4s, 4x6s. So we will have a 4x6, a 4x4, another 4x4. This one will have a little bit larger border around it. On this side we will have two 4x6s, which is great because you can add peekaboo pockets. And then we will have a 4x4. And the border that they've used for this one is from the embellishments, and they've taken this embellishment and cut it at 8 and 4, so that, and actually the way, if you look at the way they've cut it here so that the 4-inch, and you can see here on this is the cut edge. So I would cut the 4 inches here so that we would have a straight edge on this side, and then use that remaining piece as the piece over here. So you're going to cut that at 8 and 4, the same as the pages. So this is the embellishment that's used there. And then again, if you wanted to add any other stickers, this is basically all she's used on this one. This was created by Nicole. This is all they have on this one. So that is project 1. These are all going to go together very quickly. They are very basic, which is fine. So they should go together very quickly. And again, you can use these project recipes on any paper pack. So let's get out 2 Island Water cardstock from our pile of cardstock, which I need to get to. Sorry about that. So 2 Island Waters. There we go. Apologies. And they were stuck underneath all the other ones. Okay, so let's get our pile of papers for layout number 2. And we only have a few, and we're going to use some mats on this page. So what we are going to do is 4A, which is one of our stethoscopes. That's the right way. One's going to go in the corner. 3B, which is the chevrons, will go in this bottom corner. We have another piece of the stethoscopes, and it looks like it's about 2 inches up. And then we have this smaller piece, 4B, which will go here. These two are just kind of going to touch in the corner when you lay them out. And then, oh, I had said these were, oh, they must have come out. Those aren't for layout 2. What we need here is we're going to use a couple mats. We are going to use this red one. It has everything is going to be all right. So we're using one of the mats from the mat pack, as well as a mat from the mat pack for that corner. We're going to grab 2 of our borders. So we'll grab 2 of our heartbeat borders. So one is going to go along the bottom here. And the other one, let me just check something for 8A. Yep, there, she's got the whole one used at the bottom. It's going to be covered up, but let's just for now just put it underneath. And that is basically it. You can see we've got some stickers that are added, but let's get our mats on here to see what it would look like with the photos. So we have a 4x4. We have another 4x4 in this corner. And then we have 3 4x6s. So we have one on the chevron. We have one up in the corner. And it does, I do like that we get to see a lot of the paper underneath our mats. This one's a little crooked since we're only dry fitting. We have another one here. And so you do have these two spots here that are kind of plain. You can use this for journaling. You could use this for journaling, but you could put a 4x6 picture and you could put another 4x4 if you wanted to, and use this other space around here to journal. All right, so there is layout number 2, or project number 2. Again, take a look. I'm not putting embellishments now to see what I am going to use these pages for. So moving on to project number 3. We'll just get these two out of the way. And what we're going to get for the base of these two is the two teal that have the stripes across them. Actually, it hurts my eyes on camera. And let's get our pile number 3. And this is where all the blue. So basically this one's, again, pretty easy. We have 5B, which is the soup and the hot chocolate that will go on the left-hand side. On the right, we have that larger piece. And all the rest of this is your mats. If you're not using mats, that's the page, really. We have these 3, 7A, B, and C, those 3 3x3s, which will go on here. So your photo sizes for this is going to be 2.5. You can use multiple 2.5-inch photos. And actually, I don't have any 2x2s. I have 2x2s, not 2.5 by 2.5. But this is a 2.5. You can see you can go bigger. You can have 2.5 by 2.5-inch photos. You can have multiple. And then we have 2 7G and H are going on this side. They will line up with the top of 5A. That will. And we have 7E and F, which again will line up with the top. So the top is going to go straight across both pages for the mats as well as our designer paper. And these two here will be lined up. So what we have on here is 5.5 and 3.5-inch photos, as well as our 2.5-inch photos. Here you can see they have embellishments in the first 2 boxes. You could just put photos the whole way there. So we have 2, and we have some 3.5 by 5s or 5.5 by 3s. As well as on the other side, we are going to have 2 6x4s are going to fit in this spot. Now for embellishments, and what I do like is because in this embellishment pack there's only 1 embellishment of each, she's cut them down. So again, we're going to cut this one in half, probably right here at this Kleenex box, and then put this other half on this side. So this will go across both pages. And again, since there's only 1 of each, it's great. And I would line it up, cut it right here at the soup bowl. It works perfectly. And then you can see the other embellishments that she's used on this page. So again, very basic, pretty quick page to put together. So that's project number 3. So let's move on to project number 4. And for project number 4, we are going to need 2 of the bright white cardstock. So we did need 3 for here. So we did need 9 sheets, actually 8 sheets of cardstock since we didn't use one of them. Okay, so let's get these two lined up and let's look at the here. So if we go to our pile from number 4, which is getting mixed up with my 5. So here we're going to need 6B and C. And let me just go back and see something. So we have a 4-inch piece and a 6-inch piece. And if we look here, B is the 4-inch piece. It's going to go on the left. This one will go on the right, the larger one. We should have a piece. So it's got the soup. We're going to turn that over and put the blue piece beside that. And then what these are, we've got a red piece first, the hearts, right, with the RX on the back. The hearts are going to go on the right hand side. We're going to need 2 mats, and we're going to have this happened on the right. And we are just going to have this one with the chevrons. And we have our 4 red mats that will line up. And again, this will line up to the bottom. And these will go on the opposite. And this one will kind of be in the middle. That's it for this layout. Now, these are stickers across the top. You can see her other stickers. She actually used 2, and this is the only ones that actually have 2 borders that kind of go together. So it's the one with the ambulance. So if you're using these, I would make sure to put those on first, because you can see that we need to move our mats up to probably about the 3-inch spot. This one overlaps a little bit and goes right there. So this one has the ambulance, and on the other side we have the hospital. So again, might want to move up the mats a little bit so that we can not overlap, and then the cross at the top, and then you can see the rest of the embellishments that they've used. So this one is going to have a 6x4 here, and as I said, on this side, on the right hand side, you could actually put a 4x6 folded there also. And then here, these are all 3.5 by 5.5 or 5.5 by 3.5. There's 4 of those. And again, these are all good peekaboo pockets on the 4x6s. And that would be project number 4. Project number 4. Again, pretty quick to put together. And now, let's talk about project 5 and 6, since I have the pieces all mixed together. All that we are going to need out of that pile that we put aside for 5 and 6 is we are going to need the frame and piece 3D, which is this one, the chevron. The rest that we put in pile 5 is actually for 6. What you do need for this one, though, is the paper that had the band-aids, what that piece that has the dots on it, beige dots. And basically this page, one page, this is it. You're going to get your ouch mat and put up in the corner, and this will have a 4x6 and 2 3.5 by 5s. And that's it for layout for project 4. That's all that there is to this one. What they did use, though, is the band-aid. There's a band-aid border, and she just has that lined up at the very bottom here. Sorry, these ones are getting in the way. At this bottom seam, and then we can move the photos up a bit. She has them over here. And this one overlaps. So you can kind of see how that is. But that's all it is for layout number 3. I'm actually thinking of changing this up. I have some cardstocks out here from the shimmer neutral one that came out last month. I might save this paper because I want some of this paper for that blog post that we're going to do next week. But that is layout number 4, or sorry, project number 5. So the last one, project number 6, is all the pieces that we have left for, that I had said put for project 5. We're going to bring all of those over. And again, we need a white cardstock. So we have our white cardstock. Now this has a lot of little pieces, so let's go through this. 2D is going to go along the bottom. And we are going to make like a frame, right? There's going to be like a 1/2 inch frame around this, or an inch. Let's see what we do when we get here. So you can see we're going to leave a 1/2 of an inch on each side, and I've left a 1/2 of an inch on the bottom. We're now going to grab the blue one, which is 5D. We are then going to get one of our borders, which is 8C. And this, though, is we are going to have to cut this down to be 11 inches because it doesn't go across the entire page. You can see that it's not going across the entire page. It's basically going heart to heart. So we're going to cut that down after so that we line up at 11. And these are touching. The next one we have is the stethoscopes. Oh, sorry, let me just get something back open here. Awesome. So the stethoscopes is going to go next. And let's see, the next one will be this. And that will show you how much room you need. Because again, we have a 5-inch frame. So before you attach them, make sure you get them all dry fitted so that you have this 1/2 inch frame around the outside. We are then going to have this little piece at the corner. And what fits in here is a 4x6 photo. So use that. I would use Repo when I'm attaching these to make sure that, and this way you can move them. This is very cool. And then here what we have is our larger mat, which is 4D. We have 7D over here. And this piece from the mat that we cut before, we have over here. This would be great as a 2-page spread, but we don't actually have any paper left over. So I'm bringing out my trimmer and I'm going to cut 1 inch off of this side. So basically, you see how this side we have a little bit on the heart. We should have the same thing on this side. So line it up at the 1 inch. You can cut with scissors if you want. I like cutting with my trimmer for those. Make sure, because I always end up cutting on an angle. So now this will give us this 1 inch, this 1/2 inch, sorry, a 1/2 an inch around the entire thing. So if you want to use a ruler and a pencil, or actually you may use my T-square when I start this off, make sure your paper's really straight. Use your T-square to get your first one lined up. I'd line up these two. That'll give you the space that you need for the heartbeat punch in the middle. So that is project number 6. And again, she's only got a few extra embellishments on this page, or stickers. So this again is a nice easy one. This is a one you could use also with any paper pack for your leftover pieces. So you can see we still have a lot of borders left over that we haven't used. We do have, like I said, 3 sheets of paper left over. We're going to do the project recipe next week, and we're going to create that blog post. We will need some other cardstock, but I hope that this helped you putting together the On the Mend project playbook. And again, join me next week when we do the project recipe for On the Mend. So happy scrapping, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.